Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at dealing with a proportional situation and what that looks like graphically and how to interpret that. So this is all coming from CPM's course 3, and this is section 7.2.4 and number 7-75. Okay, so it says uh, Salami and More Deli sells a 6-foot sandwich for parties. It weighs 8 pounds. Assume the weight per foot is constant. Okay. How much does a sandwich 0 feet long weigh? So it's a 6-foot sandwich and it weighs 8 pounds. And it wants to know, assume that its weight per foot is constant. So if it's a 6 foot, weighs 8 pounds, we could determine how heavy a 1 foot would be, right? Because it's a constant weight. It's proportional. It's has a ratio here. So now let's talk though. How much does a sandwich 0 feet long weigh, right? So this is our place where we determine that this is proportional because 0 feet would equal 0 pounds, right? If I don't have a sandwich, it doesn't weigh anything. So 0 feet equals 0 pounds. So that tells me that we're going to have something in proportion because it's a constant rate and 0 exist. So it says draw a graph showing the weight of the sandwich. So the vertical axes compared to the length of the sandwich, the horizontal axes. So the weight is the vertical. So this is my vertical, the weight. I'm going to put it here so I can see that on my graph. That's the weight. And my horizontal is the x-axis, and it's going to be the length. So that's the length of the sandwich. So we know 0, 0 is one of the points. So I'm gonna graph that. Let's see. I'm gonna label this so I can kind of see what I'm dealing with. I'm gonna go, instead of going by ones. Well, I'll go by ones. That's fine. Make it easy. So if I go by ones, what I have up here in the beginning is 6 feet equal is 8 pounds, right? So if 6 feet is 8 pounds, that's the point 6 comma 8, because it's the length is my x and the weight is the y. So 6 comma 8 is also on my line. So if I go 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, okay, there right there is the other point. So I can connect those dots using my straight edge that I'm trying to access here. Oh my goodness. There we go. Get that out of my drawer. All right. So we have connect those. So that would be the line, right? That represents my situation. Okay. So here's my, again, my length versus weight. So it says to now use your graph to estimate the weight of a 1 foot sandwich. So if this is a 1 foot, what is the weight? So if I use my graph and I'm looking at where that is, that's not necessarily the easiest way to estimate, but it kind of looks like it's going to be 1 point something, right? Maybe we're going to say 1.2, maybe 1.5, but 1.2 pounds is what we'll estimate, basically based on our graph. If I look at my graph, there's one. So let's see if we can do this more exact, and that's part D. Part D, it wants us to use a proportion to figure out what the length of a 12-foot sandwich would be. Well, my initial ratio is that 6 pounds, so 6 feet is 8 pounds. So if 6 feet is 8 pounds, the question is how many feet? So I'm going to set it up as a proportion. How many feet is 12 pounds? That's what I need to determine. So I have a ratio 6/8 equals something over 12. So I'm going to write this as an equation. 6/8 equals x over 12. And I now just need to solve for x. So there's a few things. We could use fraction busters to eliminate the fractions and multiply by a common denominator, which I'll do that. I'm going to multiply both sides by 24, because if I multiply by 24, 24 over 1, that 12 cancels out, right? And then 8 over 20, and then 8 times the 24 over 1, or 8 divided into that, cancels out. So what this becomes here is 8 goes into 24 3 times, 12 goes into 24 twice. So when I do the multiplication, I now have 18 on this side and x times 2, which is 2x on this side. Divide both sides by 2, x is equal to 9. So that tells me that a 12-pound sandwich is 9 feet. So I know that's 9 feet. So 9 feet is my answer for a 12-pound sandwich. Okay. I think that's what it wanted. And that's all I needed to find. To go one more step, though, would be nice to understand what this equation is. And to find that equation, we would have to get the exact answer to 1 foot, my unit rate. And remember, to do the unit rate, in this case, we're doing weight per foot. So weight per foot would be 8. I know that what's true is I want to find my slope, and my slope of my graph, here's a slope equation, right? My slope of my graph is going to be 8 over 6, right? So 8 over 6. So the question is, what is that as a decimal? You just got to take 8 divided by 6, and you get 1 1/3, which is 1.3 repeating. So the exact answer would be that would be at 1.333 repeating. Okay, so that would be, we could say that this equation would be y is equal to 8/6 or 1.33 repeating times x would be the equation here. So I'm going to do it that way. Call it 4/3 instead of 8/6. So it's 4/3 x is the equation of my graph. A little extra there. All right, there we go.